situations like this really puts me in a lot of emotion, because I've experienced a lot of the stuff. And it's not necessarily that I grew up in a bad neighborhood or anything like that, because I didn't. Did I grow up in projects? Yeah, but I mean, you compare where I grew up to some of the places that are in major cities, then, I grew up on Wisteria Lane by comparison. So, with all of these things that are happening, I can't deny that it is hurtful and it is painful to see that. And is this being set up by the establishment to cause a race war? What is going on? Is this a part of creating so we can have martial law, gun confiscation, and all of those things? This can really go everywhere, all over the place, and so forth. There's a lot of directions that these emotions can go. All right, y'all. It's the day after, and I think if you just watch part one, this is part two, because this has just really escalated into something that is sensational, that has drawn America's attention, and is bringing light to situations and circumstances that need to be brought to the table and that we need to settle once and for all. Now, do I believe that things are going to be settled, or this will start or spark conversations that will bring about change? To some degree, yes, but ultimately, no. And I'm going to give you my truth. I'm going to give you my truth as a black man, as a Christian, as a father, as a husband, as a father of 3 black boys. Because I couldn't go to sleep. My spirit was so bothered by what was happening and what had transpired with regards to these shootings and the national attention that it has drawn, and how publicized that these were. I mean, I think it's just rather interesting that all of these were caught on video. And if you see how this all went down, right sort of after the Jesse Williams speech on BET Awards about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it has now turned into this big quote-unquote racial issue with regards to African-American males being pulled over by the police and the boys in blue. As much as I love Jesus Christ, and as much as I love the Lord and the kingdom and his people and people in general, I can't discard the fact that I walk in a shell that identifies me as a black man, a man of African roots, of African heritage. So therefore, and being here in America, that gives me an experience that the majority of Americans do not experience. And when I say the majority, meaning that my counterparts that are of the Caucasian persuasion, so or even Asian, maybe Latino, things. It's just completely different. Anyway, here's my experience. My experience is this, and this is my truth, and this is exactly how I feel about these situations, or I just feel, period. Do I love the Lord? Absolutely. Do I love people? Absolutely. Do I look at skin color when I see people? I try not to. That's the 100% truth. I try not to. I look at people and I address them and I smile and I'll hug, I'll shake your hand. I will be as cordial as the Holy Spirit has put in me to love everybody as they are. Because at the end of the day, my job is to lead people, regardless of their background, to the Lord. So now, with that being said, I understand that as a black man, on the flip side of that coin, I may be viewed differently, though, simply because of this right here. I am viewed as a threat. I am viewed as someone who wants your daughters. I am viewed as someone who wants your car. I'm viewed as someone who wants your clothing that's, up aisle 4. I'm viewed as somebody who might break into your store. And so it becomes this whole issue. So I recognize that because I am black, I am viewed differently. And I think the thing that really bothers me is that, people actually look at me as a threat sometimes. And I've been passed over for jobs and positions and so forth in my earlier years. And And as a believer, I'm telling you, God has shown me so much favor with people, regardless of this right here. So my experience, and I've, been called the N-word as a young kid and even as a teenager and all of those things. And so being someone who has grown up in this skin, I have experienced a lot as it relates to being a black man in America. Now, as a believer, I have to guard my heart. I have to guard how I feel about people. I have to continually give it over to the cross, simply because if I don't, then I will walk around in anger because of the almost day-to-day little experiences of racism or perceived ideas of what type of person I may be because of my skin color. So I have to keep that. It's almost like typically like a black man is a bottle up of so much simply because you're black.